Welcome to this episode of Wanderlust Solo Women Travel Unscripted. Real women, real stories, real journeys, and no filter. Join Gina, your host, to share the experiences and stories of solo female travelers and advocates from all over the world, with a mission to empower women of all ages, backgrounds, and life stages to embrace solo female travel with confidence and enthusiasm, while being authentic and real, unscripted. Confronting the challenges and apprehensions many women face when considering solo adventures, providing inspiration to break through those barriers. Sharing how life transitions, loss, and trauma can lead to amazing experiences, rediscovery, and life journeys. The good, the bad, and the ugly of authentic and honest travel. So let's throw out the script, get comfy, and jump right into this episode.
Let's welcome Sahana. Sahana is an architect, travel writer, and the founder of Vacay Work, a blog where history, architecture, and cultural stories come together. She teaches architecture at a college in India and brings the same curiosity and depth to her classroom that she brings to every place she visits. Her passion for history, old cities, shapes both her travels and her writing. She has contributed monthly to Deccan Herald, one of India's leading national newspapers, with articles covering traditional Indian crafts, forgotten design stories, and global cultural practices. For her, travel isn't about counting countries or chasing bucket lists. It's about learning through everyday challenges, like using public transport in Jordan, searching for vegetarian food in Japan, or simply connecting with locals who shape the character of a place. Her writing style is honest and human. Alongside practical tips, she shares stories of people she meets on the road, memories that stay long after the trip ends. Whether travelling with her husband or her mother, Sahana sees each journey as a way to grow both as a person and as a writer. With a deep love for architectural history and a PhD on the horizon, Sahana continues to build bridges between the past and the present, one story at a time. Let's dive right in. Welcome to this episode of Wanderlust Solo Women Travel Unscripted. And in today's episode, we got Sahana, who is joining us all the way from India. Welcome. It's nice to have you here.
Hi, Gina. How are you? I'm glad to be here.
Wonderful. And I would just like to start this episode with our pass the parcel question. So this is just a fun thing that we do to start and finish each episode. So my question to you for this episode before we get stuck in is, if your solo travel journey had a soundtrack, what would the title of the first song be?
Okay, so I had two in mind. One is quite obvious, but it could be for any journey, not just a solo journey. My favorite singer is John Denver, so I always sing "Country Roads Take Me Home." So then I would like it can be any journey, not solo journey. So when I think of it as a solo journey, I would go for "Do It Anyways."
I love that. That's such an old school song too, and it's a real banger. So I love that. That's just such a great pick. So
Why
thank you for that.
Yeah, why I chose that is I'm married and I have a kid. So I really want to go on a solo trip sooner. I'm sure when I go solo, there will be lots of opinions around me on the internet or on my blog. That, oh, you're married, you have a kid. Why are you going alone? The song I want to play is "Do It Anyways" because people are going to talk anyways. So you do what you want to do. That's all.
I love that, and that's such a good message. Actually, that I've been talking to some other ladies about that. You know, we talk about solo travel. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be single. You can be married and you can have children. It doesn't mean that you're necessarily, a single woman. And like yourself, you've got a young baby now, but you do travel with your mother quite a bit.
Yes, I do. I used to. I mean, before maternity, I used to travel and I want to continue traveling with my mother.
And how did you find those experiences? I mean, like from your bio, your background is architecture, and I really loved something that was in your bio with how you continue to build the bridges between the past and the present, one story at a time. And I'm sure you've got lots of stories about your adventures with your mum and, your other adventures you've had all over the world. So would you like to share some of those stories that you've had and the experience of especially traveling as a woman of ethnicity from another country?
So in my mom's perspective, traveling with me is like traveling with a guide. So, for example, when we went to Austria, so I was teaching her what Baroque architecture is and why buildings in Vienna look certain way. So it's like, oh good, I didn't pay for my guide. And traveling with mom, it helped me grow my bond with her. We got to know each other a bit, the good side and bad side. So I'm not saying we never fight when we are traveling. We do fight a lot because she wants me to dress up neat and tidy, look good, presentable. Whereas I'm like, ma, I want to look little dress. I don't want to dress because you don't get scammed when you look. You don't look good. People are like, ha. Anyway, she doesn't have anything to give us, so let's not scam her. Especially in Salzburg, she didn't like the way I dressed because everybody looked neat and tidy. So yeah, we got to know both sides of each other, but definitely traveling together with mom has brought us much closer.
I love that, and that's actually a real point. A real good tip is, dress like the locals. You don't want to stick out, so you don't want to look like a tourist sometimes, and you just want to blend in. So that's actually a really good solo travel tip.
Yes, definitely. I think I went to Iran, and before going to Iran, the first thing I had in my mind was like, do I want to wear a hijab? Am I comfortable wearing a hijab? Because I don't wear a hijab in India, and probably it took a month. Like, okay, I'm going there as a traveler. Iranian women are fighting for not wearing a hijab. I mean, it was before all the revolution and started, like in I think 2 years ago. I went in just before the COVID hit. Then I'm like, just putting on hijab should not stop me from traveling to any place. So it's my duty, the tiniest part of duty, to dress up like how the locals want us to, or to blend in with the locals. So then I'm like, okay, I'm going to wear hijab for 2 weeks, fine. So, and then I started thinking like how other people dress when they come to India to mingle with the locals. It's their culture. Whether I like it or not, I appreciate it or not, doesn't matter because I'm there in their country. So it's my job to respect what they respect.
Yeah. And that's so true. Like when I was traveling in Middle Eastern countries, I always wore a headscarf. I mean, it's just a sign of respect. I mean, this is, we might not always agree with different countries' cultural expectations, especially towards women, but there is a fine line to tread with actually being culturally sensitive and wanting to blend in and, standing up for women's rights. So I think you try and find a happy middle ground.
Yes, but unfortunately, I think you might also have noticed this dress code is for women, whether it's India or Middle East or Europe. Men wear
This
the
is
pants.
true.
It's
Actually,
only for
yeah, I haven't. You know what? I've been very aware of it, but I've never actually had that articulated. That when we talk about how people dress, it is always towards women. You're there. We're just gonna pause for a minute because you're right. Can you just talk for a minute?
yeah,
I just lost you.
yeah,
There we go. You're back again.
yeah. I'm sorry.
So I'll just. No, that's all right. We'll just pick off where we left off there. So we were just talking about dress codes for women. So you carry on.
Yeah. So it's always the woman who has to dress up in certain way to respect the culture. I don't think dress code for men doesn't change anywhere much, except at some places. If you go to temple, Hindu temple, it's the sari or salwar kameez for women. If you go to mosques, women have to wear hijab or not hijab. When you go to a church, the women have to cover their knees and shoulders. It's the same for men everywhere.
I know. We have to worry about so much more, don't we? We
Yeah.
have to have all these considerations that, men, I suppose, don't have and, maybe take for granted. And it's funny that I haven't thought. I know I always consider dress codes, but I hadn't actually thought about it just being mostly for women. Maybe it's because men are a bit boring and they only have one sort of clothes. Where you've gone. We can just pick up.
I'm
You
very
back?
sorry, Kin. I don't know why it's happening because I checked the internet and it says it has good thing, but
It's all right. We can just, like I said, the good thing with this, I can cut and edit really easily. So we'll
okay.
just, yeah, we'll just pick up. So that's why we'll just keep the flow. So I'll just start off again and yeah. So it's really good. Yeah. And like I said, that I'd never thought about those considerations that women, have to think about these things. But then again, maybe it's just because men are boring and they don't have many as dress options as what we do.
100%, yes.
And how does, like, with your architecture background, I mean, that's something I'm really passionate about too. I love my thing is old buildings. I love to see how they're put together, and I'm absolutely fascinated with that. When you're traveling, do you see things differently because you're an architect? Do you look at things different?
I think it's both. For example, when I go to Egypt, I teach history of architecture in an architecture college also. So I know better. Like, Egypt is not just, the pyramids are not just the pile of bricks. I know I can go inside, what used to be there inside, why they built pyramids in certain way. So I enjoy it more definitely because I'm an architect and I know about it. But I also have met architects who has been to Egypt and found it a pile of bricks, pile of stones. There's nothing. You are an architect. You're supposed to say that to the Egyptian pyramids. They're like, no. I have even met an architect who said, oh, I saw the Giza pyramids from outside and I didn't know that I could go inside. So that was his word. I like, dude, no. You can't talk like that. You studied in it your first semester out of the 5 years. And then you are teaching or you're working or whatever. As an architect, you should know better. So I think I'm not I think it's gonna sound like I'm boasting myself too much, but I pay attention to details, even when I cook or look after my baby or anything. So maybe I ask a lot of questions why it is done this way, why it is has to be this way. Maybe that curiosity itself led me to become an architect, and I always loved traveling since I was a kid. So I think it's the mix of all that. But sure, my husband and mom always says we got a free guide with this. We need not pay. But not always. I'll not know everything, so obviously. And I make sure that I go on one walking tour, at least in every new place I visit with a local, so that I understand better and I connect things better. Without locals explaining why certain things happen in certain ways, I really can't. Okay, there was Baroque architecture in Vienna. Why? Like the questions have to start from okay, what happened before Hofburg family, that they were Romans. So who were they before Romans? So I think I asked a lot of questions. Why, how. So I think it's a mix of all that.
I'm one of those people too. I ask a ton of questions, and one of my best ones is for the pyramids. And I asked this to our guide who was an Egyptologist, and he was as like they recorded everything. They recorded the slaves that were there that built it. But where are the architects' drawings and how they did it of building the pyramids? Like they recorded everything. They should have just like, here's the step-by-step guide of how we built the pyramids. Where's that?
That's a good way. I mean, even I have not asked my Egyptologist I met, like, where can I see his drawings?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was just like, that the way they documented everything is amazing, and I'm fascinated in it. You go into some of the temples and the artwork and the painting is still so vivid. Yeah, it was just blinding obvious to me. Is like, well, where are the records? Why didn't, they recorded all the slaves and where they were and what they, how they worked and everything, but where's the plans?
Yes. Yeah, true, so true. I think it was in Kom Ombo temple in Egypt where I saw the wall that had a lady sitting in a certain way and there was a stool underneath her birds and things. I was staring at it and I saw scissors, scalpels and too many things. I'm like, this hieroglyphs is different. It's trying to say something. Then I asked the Egyptologist, he's like, they have sketched, they have shown, they have carved on the stones on how ancient Egyptian women used to deliver baby. So I think it was in Komombo temple, if I'm right. Yeah, I think Komombo. So Yeah, I observe a lot, little things.
Little details.
Yeah, little details. Yeah.
And with traveling, have you had any, like, because you know you're an Indian woman, and like especially maybe when you were traveling with your mother without your husband, have you had any negative feedback, like traveling internationally as a woman of ethnicity from India?
Yes, I have definitely had in Germany. And there are two incidents. One incident which happened in Thailand, which is not negative. Me and my mom were taking a shared taxi in Chiang Mai bus stand to our hotel. It was at around 8 o'clock in the night. And there was a French family who was in the same shared taxi. So they were very curious about how my mom was wearing a silver kameez and she was wearing a big nose pin and she had a little jumki where I was in shorts, I think t-shirt, and I was not wearing any of the bindis or earrings which usually Indian women wear. So the French family they asked us out of curiosity, interest, like why are you wearing this? Why are you wearing that? And they saw something called as Mangal Sutra, which Indian women wear. It's called Nupital chain. So they asked about that out of curiosity, and they looked at me and said, by how you dressed, I think you're not married because your mother is married and looks different and you look different. I'm like, I'm married. We are not, yeah, I mean, some people do follow what a married woman has to follow in India, but not everyone knows. So it's too complicated to explain why certain Indian women dress in certain way and some of us choose not to or wear what we want. It's not that we are rebel or we don't want to, we just don't feel like doing it. So there was a good interaction where they asked us out of curiosity and out of respect. And they even said that they didn't know that women in India had freedom to wear what they want. They thought we were all compelled to wear saris and bindis. And they were like, I'm really glad to know how India has changed since 1947, India's independence to this. I said, I'm sure there are many Indian women who are forced to dress in certain way, but not necessarily all of us. So there is a mix of everybody. I think that was a good interaction where we I could exchange insights on my own country. And then I started asking them about France. Then he asked me a question. Okay, I don't know. Have you been to France? I said, I have not been. And then he's like, do you think Paris is the most romantic city in the world? So I said, I've not been to Paris, so I don't know. And I think the most romantic city in the world is when I feel romantic with my husband. So it doesn't matter for me which city I am in. I can feel romantic in any place if I feel romantic. So then he is like, I have forgotten which village name he mentioned. So they're from that village in France. And he said, for me, Paris is too busy. It's not romance. You come to countryside of France, that's the romance you find. I just wanted to see how outsider thinks of Paris. So if you take a local opinion, please don't spend too much time in Paris. Come to the countryside, he said. So I'm still waiting for the day where I go to France and go to countryside and also see Paris and think of what he said and see what I feel about it. So this is a good
It's really
interaction.
interesting. Yeah.
And the second, the Germany part, my mom wears sari along with sometimes she wears salwar, but mostly she wears sari. So we were in Innsbruck, Austria, and it was summer, so proper tourist season. So we were taking a cable car to the mountain, and there were two women in the cable car with a small kid. We boarded the cable car, and they suddenly pinched their nose like this. Me and mom got a little bit conscious, and we stepped back and sat. And they said like this. Literally, me and my mom, we had bath once in the morning and we freshen up in hotel also. We had bath again. I really sleeping. And then they started shoo. They started literally shooing. We are in one cable. Then I started the fight. Then they were speaking in German language and I was speaking in English. I don't speak German. Then we got off the cable car. Then I don't know what they were, and they said, you come no Germany. You come no Germany. This was the sentence she said, you come no Germany. I understood that they're asking me not to come to Germany. I said, I'm in Austria. I'm not coming to Germany, but I was going to Germany later. I'm in Austria. So, there was a cyclist from Innsbruck himself. He pitched in and he's like, what is happening? Do you need help? I told him, I don't know what they're saying, but Sure. I told him what will happen in the cable. Then they shared a talk. Then he was translating it for us. I kept on hearing the word masala from the German ladies' mouth. They are telling him that we smell like masala. I'm like, what masala? There are some 200 variety of masalas in India. What masala are you referring to? Then he told, see, you are telling them, asking them not to come to Germany, which is your home country, right? Please don't do this in Austria. They are in Austria. You don't come to Austria. You go back to Germany, he said to them. So then he stood, my mom was almost in tears. It was the first experience she faced. And those ladies pointed at my mother like this, like she's wearing a sari and all, they pointed it out. So then he said, no, we Austrians are not like this. They were Germans. I'm sorry it happened to you in my country. He tried to convince my mom and he's like, shall I buy you a coffee? There's a good cafe here and all he said. It was an Austrian gentleman who intervened and stopped the Cold War between us. And after that, we went to Munich for 5 days. From Innsbruck, we went to, it was a 21-day trip, 15 days in Austria, 6 days in Munich. My mom was like, I don't want to come out in Munich. I met German ladies. Then I said, Mom, you can't generalize people like that. There will be good people everywhere, bad people everywhere. So you please let's go out in Munich. Don't sit inside the hotel room. Sure, we met a lot of nice German women, German men who were like happy and things like that. But what happened is my mom was little conscious when she was in Germany. She was not as free as she was in Austria. If somebody is looking at her, oh God, that woman is going to tell me something. Oh, that man is looking at me. They're going to tell me something. I said, Mom, no, not everyone are like that. Please don't be so conscious. So, but yeah, she said, when I was in Austria, I was like, hey, free, nobody is going to tell me anything. But the moment I came to Munich, I felt a little bad, she said. Like she couldn't enjoy it the way she had enjoyed Germany. But sure, we did meet good people in Germany too, who were like, what are you wearing? Is this a sari? I love it. And there were people who asked about it. But she didn't feel loved and welcomed as much as she did in Austria.
Yeah. I think that's a really, you touched on some really good points there. I'm just going to stop for a minute because my computer doesn't seem to be plugged in. Just hold on, don't go anywhere.
Yeah. And my dog came in the middle, so I have to send her back.
That'd be right. Someone turned it off at the wall. That wasn't me. Right, that's better. Okay, so already we'll go now. I think you touched on two really important points there. Like you had a negative interaction, which sadly tarnished your mum's experience, which is really sad. But you had two real positive experiences. The first one was, even though someone was asking you questions, like you said, they were being inquisitive and it was coming from a point of interest, not criticism, and they obviously wanted to learn. I think that I had a similar situation in Canada. I'm from New Zealand, and my partner at the time, we were on a train from Banff to Vancouver. I'm the Rocky Mountaineer, and we were sitting down the back, and there was a American couple and their teenage son in front of us, and they kept sending their teenage son down to us. He was asking us questions like, what do you wear? And, can you get Levi's? And all these weird questions. And, what sort of money we have and what we can buy. And we took offense to it initially, but then I realized he was just, they were being curious. And I think that's similar. And then, and the other one was you had the man that actually stood up for you and showed, that there are good people. So there are, weird people out there that have different views and opinions, but, there's still good people out there as well.
And sure, 100%. Like in Austria, when we were walking, I think mom was crossing the road in Salzburg. One lady came running and she's like, she held my mom's sari, the end, and like, this is beautiful. Can you teach me how to wear this? Mom was like, I would. Do you have a sari? If you buy a sari, then I'll teach you, she said. So then
I've got one. I know. Oh, yeah, I got given one and I want to learn how to wear it.
It's a little complicated. I mean, even I'm not a master of it. My mother does it well. I think it's the habit. Like she has been wearing it many times, years. She does it better. It's a little complicated. Yeah. So we have had both good and bad experiences. I mean, I just give you an example. Some people are curious, like how I explained you about the French family I met in Thailand, and even in Turkey, I was in a ladies' restroom near Cappadocia. I think she was a woman, probably about 50 of age. So she saw me and she asked me where I'm from. Like, I don't speak Turkish. She knew a little bit English, and I had learned the basic phrases of Turkish. So I said India. Then she saw me like this she did. I understood that she's telling me my dress is not nice. I was wearing just casual jeans and shirt. Then I asked why it's not nice. Then she grabbed her phone. She opened some app, something like Netflix. So she showed me one picture. So she has been watching an Indian series dubbed to Turkish, where women dress in all fancy saris and lehenga. Then she said, "See, you should dress like them. That's the Indian dress. You're wearing." She said, "Boring, boring. This is nice. This is nice." So then I told her, "Yeah, I mean, I understand that dress looks really nice, but that's for a soap for TV or it's a drama. So, and I can't really be climbing Cappadocia walls wearing a sari." Then she's like, "Oh yeah, but this is very nice. This is boring."
You could try to.
And what I do is I wear sari and walk around in India. When I travel, I do wear sari. But sometimes for photos, I wear in foreign country and just not like a proper outfit for the day where my mom can hike, climb walls, and do whatever wearing a sari where I can't. But yeah, so that was one funny experience I had in Turkey.
And that's, really interesting. It's just different people's perspective of, I suppose, stereotypes.
Yes.
But, it's good to hear that you've had some positive interactions and, and it sounds like you've taken those interactions with grace too. They haven't like marred your experience.
Yeah, I mean, for me, more than seeing places, everything it feels good. But when you talk to locals and ask them about their culture, it could be as little as possible. Like somebody asked me how to wear a sari. I asked them like, "You said you are a professional hiker. Like, how do you earn from professional hiking?" It was the question I asked in Austrian. I'm like, "Can you earn by becoming a hiker?" He said, "I'm a professional hiker." So she explained to me what professional hiking is like. Then I understood how much Austrians take this hiking part so seriously as part of their life. So it's nice. It's those little interactions that actually makes my travel experience like I want to know more. I want to see more.
And I think that's a really important thing that, that's what one thing is the amazing thing about travel is what you learn and how it makes you grow as a person. And, asking questions is a good thing because it's how we learn how other people live.
I'm not saying I have done everything right. I've done some really dumb things. I think it was in Sri Lanka.
Me too.
Glad to know I'm not alone. I think it was in Sri Lanka. So we were in a tuk-tuk and it's a shared tuk-tuk again. We were really on a tight budget trip to Sri Lanka, me and my husband. So the woman next to me, we started talking and she said from Colombia. So I'm like, it was at the edge of my mouth, like, don't say it, don't say it, don't ask it. But what do you say? It's a word vomit. Pablo Escobar, I said. So she saw me like this. Colombia is beyond Pablo Escobar. I mean, I know that Colombia is beyond Pablo Escobar. I should, like, if somebody says, "Oh, India is full of slums," I would have been angry, right? Like, I can't associate a criminal with a country. Then I asked her, "Sorry." Then I said, "I'm really sorry. I mean, I have watched Pablo Escobar series twice on Netflix. I kind of like that series. So I didn't mean to be disrespectful towards your country. I know how many UNESCO World Heritage sites are there and how good your coffees are." What do you say? It's a word vomit. That like I don't know why I did that, but I did that.
I love that word vomit. And I think we've all made those mistakes. And I think it's not necessarily from a bad place. It's just, we associate things with different countries. And sometimes to try and make a conversation, we try and connect the dots with something we do know. So that was something you knew about Colombia.
I felt really bad. But yeah, it happened.
We all make mistakes. I just did the episode before this was actually about making mistakes, and I've made got some bad ones, but that's how you learn.
Yeah, and now I'm like conscious. Yeah, I want to connect with them. Let's not get too private about like what their life is, or if I don't know about their country, let's just ask like, what is your country famous for? Just because I've seen something on Netflix or some news documentary, I should not associate that with that. Maybe like if I go to Tunisia, I can talk to them about their matmata houses, Star Wars and things, but never the bad things. Don't tell the bad thing first. So talk a nice thing first, and then let's say, like if we get close, then we talk the bad thing.
And with your blog, vacay work, is there a favourite blog? You've done a lot of writing, and is there one that stands out to you that's been one of your favourite stories?
Yeah, I think the one is where I have written about how I faced racism in Germany. The story I just told you, and there are a little bit more stories to that where kids didn't want to sit to next to my mom. They kept their bag and books in the crowded bus, but they refused to sit. And when my mom in India, it's like when we see school kids, we make space for them. We make them comfortable because they'll be carrying a heavy bag and things. So we treated them the same way. I have combined all the incidents we faced racism in Germany and made a post. For me, it's something that I really poured from my heart because, see, when you write a blog, you talk about SEO, search engine optimization. You have to write in certain ways so that Google shows your thing. Because I want to earn from my blog. Writing a novel is different from my blog, but that post, it's like literally I poured my heart out. So it's about racism in Germany, and the other one is I have written a letter to Indians uh, on why they behave certain ways when they go out. And I have written a letter to Americans also, the American tourists whom I have met on the road. So these three are my favorite. I feel.
And I'll pop the links for your blog too down after this episode finishes.
Sure, sure. I mean, in Americans, there are many funny incidents where I think we talked about Egypt earlier. We were in a place called Philae Temple, and the Egyptologist was talking to me about the column details because he knew I was an architect. So he was explaining the different types, how the Egyptian columns in first period was, second period was, and when Greco-Roman came and things like that. And he was using a term called top of the column, actually, which is called as a capital. The top of the column is called as capital. I said, you mean capital? He said, thank God you brought the word capital. And why? It's a common word. Apparently, he just a week or 10 days before I went, he was guiding a group tour for Americans. And he said the capital design, something he said. And some people in the group were angry, telling that capital means it's a city. Like Washington, D.C. is a capital. Delhi is a capital. Vienna is a capital. So you can't say capital to a column, it's wrong. He said, no, it's the architectural term where capital means what is above the topmost part of the column. So he's like, after that, I had to really argue. Like, he was very angry. The man was very angry. So I really had to put my foot down and calm him down and take the tour forward. So I decided from whomever I'm going to talk to, I'm never going to use the word capital. So, there was a person, a group of family who was sitting and arguing. Amman was called as Philadelphia during Roman time. And their argument was Philadelphia state of USA came before Amman, before Romans.
And this is the thing, like a lot of our newer capitals, cities were actually named after ancient ones. And, and this is what I love about ancient traveling to places that are old, because you learn so much and you realize that a lot of the words we use are old words and come from, foreign countries and different ages that are long gone.
Yes, I known if I had, as an architect, I know about Aman and I know about Hercules Temple. I know a little bit, not everything. I learn even as an architect or somebody who teaches history of architecture. Traveling is what teaches me more than what I learn in books.
Yeah. I can remember when I was in Egypt for the first time, I was actually reading a Wilbur Smith book, and it was his Egypt series, and he was describing everything in But the crazy thing was I was actually seeing exactly what he was describing in the book. I vividly remember going down the Nile and he was explaining Elephantine Island and everything. It was amazing.
Yeah. It's like you'll read a book and then you live it later.
Living it. Yeah. And, I just need to start to wind up this episode. It's been really good, and I really appreciate, you sharing some vulnerable moments there. But we'll end it on a little bit of a fun thing with our quick fire round. Okay. So I'm just going to shoot you about 5 questions and just tell me off the top of your head what comes first. So you ready?
Yes. Hope I do good.
Okay, right. So I've just got a bunch that I've got written down here. This is a packing question. It's always debatable. Fold or roll?
Okay.
With your luggage, with your clothes, do you fold it or do you roll them?
Both. Before the trip, I fold them, or during the trip, I just roll them, or even just stuff it.
So you're a mixture. I haven't had a mixture of either one or the other, so that's really interesting. So what is your best travel wellness routine? What do you do to keep yourself well while traveling?
I walk a lot. Like, I think in Japan, I walked about 20 kilometers a day. I eat a lot. For sure, I eat a lot. But I walk a lot, and it helps me keep myself healthy and also see the place better. And other than that, I don't drink anything too much cold to avoid catching flu or cold.
Yeah.
So I'll drink coffee, but not anything too cold.
Yeah, I actually got told that not like it's best to drink drinks at room temperature, which is really interesting because I know when you go to hot countries, all you want is a cold drink. So, but that's one tip I got told is, make sure they're room temperature.
Yes. So I avoid drinking anything too cold.
Cityscape or nature retreat? Which would you prefer?
Cityscape. The architect in me wants to see cityscape. Yeah, I think cityscape. And
the last one is for the airplane, window or aisle seat?
Oh God, I think if I have bad stomach, I want aisle seat so that I can run to the toilet. But I think I prefer always the window seat. So, window seat. Yeah, window.
Okay. And as part of we started this round with the parcel question. So for our next guest, what question do you have for them?
Okay. So I have not yet traveled in business class, and I always want to travel in business class because I don't want to get tired the moment I get off the plane and just go start wandering. So I always wonder people who can afford business class. So it's for if you are given a chance to travel in business class and stay in a cheap hotel or stay in a luxury hotel but travel in coach or economy class, what would you do? Which one would you choose?
That's a really good question. I love that question. So we'll pass that on to the next guest and see what their answer is.
Sure.
I just want to thank you, Sahana, for being here. I've really loved your insights, and I'm going to pop all your information, including your blog, and in the comments section for anyone who wants to see that. So I thank you again for making this time to come to us all the way from India. Is there anywhere that you recommend people find you?
Yeah, I read it. I think you've already mentioned my blog name, VK Work. So it's for people like me who want to quit 9 to 5 a job and still wants to travel. So that's the place where I write most of my stuff. And I'm little active on social media, especially Instagram, but not too much. So blog or Instagram is where vkwork.com or Sahana.Kulur on Instagram is where you can find me.
And I'll put all that in the comments section for everyone. I just want to say thank you again and stay tuned for the next episode. And remember, it's never too late to unleash your wanderlust.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Please share the love by liking, commenting, or subscribing. Or join us in our Facebook community.